Hey, what's up, YouTube? Red and Bordy here. We got a good one for you guys today because Friday they finally released the new weapon for New World, and that is the Ice Gauntlet, Bordy.
Oh, yeah.
We did a little bit of speculation earlier last week, or I guess late last week on this when they kind of previewed the gauntlet in the ice, and obviously I think most people assumed at that point we're getting some sort of ice magic, Bordy. And they did bring back the gauntlet, which is awesome, man. I love the originality there as a weapon.
Yeah, it looks dope for sure.
So real quick before we start in, and you'll kind of see through the video as we break it down. That's what we're going to do today. We're going to watch the video that they posted on Twitter. We're going to obviously look and pause and break all this footage down because they revealed quite a bit in a 20-second video. So we're going to look at that today, and then we'll kind of talk a little bit about the weapon and what we think it might add to the experience in New World. So, Bordy, I'm going to start the video right now. Now, one of the first things we want to point out, and ironically enough, we did a video this week on the Ancients. Oops, I missed the pause button. I'm trying to pause in the video and not in the actual recording. There we go. So right there you see we got some symbols there, Bordy, and we did a video about lore and the Ancients this last week, and those symbols look awfully familiar.
Yeah, they do, man. They definitely look like some sort of ancient symbol there, no doubt. So it begs the question, is this weapon somehow going to tie into the lore of New World, and is this some sort of ancient technology that we have somehow acquired? So that's a pretty interesting question, interesting topic for sure.
Yeah, it's interesting because Ancients seem to have some magic or some ability that exceeds anything that we know of, and in the old world or whatever you want to call it, 17th century or even modern day capability. So it's really cool to kind of see a new, like I said, a new weapon type like a gauntlet. You never see that in MMOs. You always see the traditional, like you said last video, book or staff or something like that, maybe even a dagger. But dude, a gauntlet is pretty dope, man. And I love seeing this thing in action. Let's go ahead and proceed here in the video. Now, the first thing we see is her put up what appears to be like some sort of ice spike or ice pillar or ice totem, Bordy, and it isn't quite apparent or obvious what this totem does, but it seems to be affording some side of buff to the player.
Yeah, that's my guess, and I think that's probably a pretty good guess, is that it's a totem that's going to provide some sort of additional damage or potentially a slow. Maybe it's an AoE slow if the enemy gets too close, or I think it's going to be more than likely either a buff or a debuff to the enemy would be my guess. That's what it looks like is happening here. But as a side note, man, this armor looks dope. Someone in our Discord mentioned this too after they posted this video, and I went back and rewatched it and looked, and this armor does look really dope. I haven't ever seen this armor in game, and it looks amazing. This is maybe some new armor they've added. I don't know, so maybe we're getting a little bit more of a sneak peek than just the ice gauntlet here, but the armor looks cool, just kind of as a sidebar. Also, the aesthetic on the gauntlet itself, before, whenever it was turning around, the gauntlet has, instead of the orb, it has like a piece of ice or chunk of ice in there. I thought that was really dope too. Sorry, I didn't mean to get off track. Just wanted to point those things out. But as far as the totem goes, buff or debuff, that's my best guess. Yeah.
Yeah. What's interesting is as she does her light attack, something explodes from the totem at the exact same time. So maybe that is some sort of like auto turret or something of that nature. We're used to that in first-person shooter games, something you can kind of drop and deploy that also does attacking for you. Shamans in World of Warcraft, they have totems like that can provide some sort of support or damage support. And I found it interesting that if she's auto-attacking, that little ball of ice atop of that totem explodes at the same time. So maybe it does have provide some sort of a benefit or buff to your auto attack there.
Yeah, maybe, and I don't. It's kind of hard to see with the angle there if it's actually something shooting out of that. I think it is. It looks like at the top of it does explode at the same time, but it is kind of hard to tell. But so maybe it is. Maybe every time you auto attack, it gives you some sort of buff or an additional slow or something of that nature.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to find out, because I love the uniqueness of that, though. I don't know of any other of weapons in New World that do allow you to put some sort of totem or something like that down during combat, so that's dope. Here's the next video. Here's the next ability that we kind of preview to. Seems to be a shock wave of ice, or a cleave of ice. Puts up some sort of CC to that, or stagger to that corrupted mob there. So, dude, this is, these abilities, the two abilities that we've went through so far, it does kind of seem like this Frost Gauntlet is not a support weapon, especially that cleave ability.
So you're thinking more damage than support?
I don't know. It could very well be a focus-based damage weapon, I think. But, this is definitely, these two abilities that we've seen, and we're going to see one more after that. They have, obviously, the CC that you're used to in Ice Magic and MMOs, but they look like they pack a punch, too. Especially that auto attack. It looks pretty mean.
Yeah, it does. The auto attack looks cool, and this ability in particular looks really cool too. I like the stagger. It's not really a stun or a knockdown. The mob just appears to stagger there a little bit. So yeah, again, maybe just a slow, stagger, some kind of soft CC there. I like it. The ability looks really dope too, and that's what I was hoping for. Some really cool looking animations that are a little bit different than what we have currently, and a little bit of outside of the box thinking. I think both of these abilities here are just that. They're really neat.
Yeah. And detailed, having this blizzard and ice feel to the weapon is exciting for me, for sure, especially in gauntlet form. So let's look at this last ability here. She seems to cast some sort of blizzard, and then is channeling what's like a frost flamethrower, so to say, a frost thrower. Kind of like the flame staff, where you can torture enemies with a channeled ability that you can kind of walk around with. The ice gauntlet seems to have the equivalent of that in frost form, which I would assume, it's kind of hard to tell because that mob is also in the blizzard, but potentially applies some sort of stun or slow to the character that she's fighting, because he does start moving a little bit slower there. So.
Yeah, that's what I would assume, and it shows the area of effect on the ground whenever she cast it. It looks like a pretty large area, and so I would imagine, this is some big AoE slow is what I would imagine this to be. I don't know that this, maybe it does some sort of, some sort of dot damage as well, but to me, I wouldn't think this would be a very big damage ability. This looks more like some kind of utility AoE slow to me.
Yeah, I agree. Blizzard, or whatever you want to call it, that AoE is massive. I think that might be the largest area of effect in New World currently. And it'll be interesting to see the morphs, or as you go through these skill trees, how you can manipulate these abilities as well. I always find that interesting in the choices that they force the player to make. They just recently increased the amount of nodes in each side of the skill tree to make the choices a little bit more tough. So I'm ready to see the Ice Gauntlet skill tree and what the choices that players are going to have to make with their skill points.
Yeah, absolutely. And it looks like we only seen really 3 abilities here in this video. So there's going to be 6 active abilities. So that's only half of them. So these are all pretty unique. I'm excited to see the other 3 and see what they do. So now let me ask you this, Red. What is your prediction here? Do you think it is going to be focus intelligence, or do you think it's going to be intelligence and focus, or a single attribute weapon of one of the two?
I definitely think it's split. And here's why. Well, aside from strength, each statistic currently, or each stat, has one weapon tied to it. So, dexterity, I think the only weapon that purely scales off of dexterity is the bow. The int is the fire staff, and the focus is the life staff. So I would think that this is some sort of hybrid weapon. Man, if I had to guess, I think I'm leaning more towards focus int for some reason. I don't know why. I don't have any like factual reason why I think that it's focus over int. But I think that the focus stat is kind of low in weapons right now. You know, none of the hybrid weapons secondary stats are focused even. You know, we have like the rapier and the musket that have secondary intellect bonuses, but none for focus. So I think this might be a focus-based weapon. Potentially.
Maybe so. In the last video, whenever they first released this teaser, my guess was it was going to be an intelligence-based weapon. I'm shifting that. I agree. I do think it's going to be focus intelligence, with focus being the primary, intelligence being the secondary. And I think that because it looks like more utility than damage. The only real damage I think we're seeing out of this thing is the auto attacks, which you would have, or you know, the light and heavy attacks that it shows at the beginning, which you'd have those anyway. The totem, I think that's going to be a buff or a debuff. The ice smash or whatever that thing is looks really cool, and it looks like it probably has a little damage tacked on there, but I would imagine it's more of a CC, a stun versus damage. That's just my guess. And then I think that the blizzard is going to be an AoE slow. I think all of those are more support than damage, and so I think it's going to be a combination of both, but I think it's going to be focus intelligence, and maybe the other side of the tree is where all the damage is going to come from, because we haven't seen that yet.
I think
we'll see, but that's my guess.
I think that's a very big possibility here with the frost staff. I think you're gonna have like a CC support side, and then you're gonna definitely have your damage, your ice, ice damage. So maybe, dude, it would be cool again, because I don't like the thought of having our healers in any MMO, especially New World, kind of be made to respect their character when they're out there leveling in the world, like trying to do quests and stuff like that. You know, the life staff, the current iteration with all the reworks and the new skill trees appears to have 0 actual damage abilities. So that, what are you going to do? Just light attack and heavy attack things to death? That's not very fun gameplay. Hopefully, this is the back bar of all of our healers, which is a pretty cool concept, man. I don't know about all the healers. I think I would like a little bit more diversity than that, but we need more. We definitely need more. I don't want every healer to be running around with a frost stat or a frost gauntlet or ice gauntlet. Excuse me, I keep calling it frost because that's what we guessed initially. Ice gauntlet. I don't want them all to be running around with that. I want there to be a little bit of diversity, a little bit of differentiation between builds. But I see where you're going for sure. I agree with you 100%. And I don't think we're limited to the the weapons that we get at launch. I think they're dedicated to bringing us tons of different weapons. I'm excited to see, because historical stuff, it starts to broaden your horizon on what weapons you can add, severely. You have the all kinds of Vikings and samurai and knights and a whole bunch of different weaponry they can explore. And dude, this surprised me, man. The gauntlet idea is dope. I've never seen it done before, and I'm excited. There's ice magic in New World now.
Absolutely, man. This is awesome. I love it. I loved the video. I think the weapon's going to be a lot of fun. It's an exciting time for New World. It is, dude. I'm stoked. I'm ready to get in there and try this thing out.
All right, guys. Well, we should know more on the Ice Gauntlet later this week. I would think that they're going to put out the monthly alpha notes. I think we're due for that this week. So we'll know more about the skill trees and stuff. We'll probably do another video once we get the full release of all the skill trees right here on the channel. Don't forget to hit that subscription button, the notification bell for more New World content like this. We're doing 5 videos a week, Monday through Friday, 8 a.m. So be sure to check the channel or hit the notification bell, obviously, to get that notification when we go live. You can be the first person to post a comment, and you can post first, and then enjoy the rest of your day knowing that you were the first to comment. Thank you guys so much for watching. We really appreciate it, and we'll see you in the next video.